Alright everybody, welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about The Rise of Skywalker. So the movie just came out today, or was Thursday. I went to see it and I have my thoughts, and before I get into it, I just want to give you the warning. Spoilers. We're going to be talking about spoilers here. So if you don't want to get spoiled about the movie, make sure you're not watching or listening to this video. I'm not really going to go really in depth with a movie criticism. This is just my thoughts, some of my expectations, and some of my hopes and expectations. So again, if you haven't seen the movie, stop watching it, go watch the movie, and then come back. I'll be here. No worries, you'll be able to listen to this whenever, but make sure you watch the movie first. I don't want my opinion to change anything. I want you to see the movie and then get your own opinions, and then we can discuss it here. But anyways, with that being said, let's get to this video. So, The Rise of Skywalker. I was a big fan of The Force Awakens just because it brought back a lot of nostalgia, and I really enjoyed what J.J. Abrams did with a character like Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren to me is the main focus of this whole trilogy. He's my favorite character, and to my surprise, I wasn't expecting that. When I saw him for the first time, I thought, especially when I went to go see the movie The Force Awakens, I thought I was gonna dislike him and I was gonna love Captain Phasma. And then after I left, I realized that it was the opposite. I hated Captain Phasma and absolutely loved Kylo Ren. I love how he got so angry when, after Finn escapes, and I'm talking about that scene where he breaks the control panel, where he throws the tantrum. Like, a lot of people call him like immature and childish, but to me, like, I love how he reacts, because he had seen the stormtrooper Finn not shoot, and he didn't do anything about it. He just looked at him and walked away. And then it's because of him letting him go in that instance, or not handling that situation, that then Finn escapes with the lead that he needed to reach Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker being the target that his boss, the Supreme Leader, has given him. Also the guy who tried killing him in his sleep. So to Kylo, this is very important to accomplish. And now, not only is he hearing that the guy betrayed them, but he also knows that he could have done something if he did it. So he turns on his lightsaber, just destroys the hell out of that control panel. And it's those imperfections about this character, the anger, the recklessness, the berserk aspect of it, the rage, that I absolutely love. And I love that he gets his ass kicked in The Force Awakens as well, because it can allow us to see him progress in The Last Jedi and then in The Rise of Skywalker. So to me, my biggest thing with The Rise of Skywalker was seeing where Kylo Ren goes as a character. From the trailers, especially the one where it shows that Kylo meets Palpatine, I had two expectations. Either that happened in the beginning of the movie and it just made Kylo more of a evil character, or it happened at the end and it was like him confronting the Emperor. But the movie starts out with a very weird crawl. Like, the crawl, for a moment I thought it was a joke, that it said Palpatine sent a distress message or whatever. I had to reread it. I thought I was reading something completely odd. I wasn't sure if the movie was actually starting with the crawl. But then we get a montage of Kylo Ren just wrecking some alien species in the planet, and that scene was really cool. Like, every part where Kylo Ren shows up and he's either wearing his helmet or not, but when he's wearing the helmet, it's even better. Whenever Kylo Ren's on the scenes, those are the best scenes in my opinion. Like, this whole movie, The Rise of Skywalker, I believe the first half of it is the best part of the movie. When Rey kills Kylo Ren, and let me clarify, when she stabs him and she kills his persona, Kylo Ren, because then she revives him, and he turns he becomes Ben Solo again. Till that point, when Ben Solo throws away the lightsaber, to me that's when the movie kind of like dips down, and I don't know, like I wasn't as connected with the movie after that part. I felt like Palpatine was forced down our throats. I know that sounds weird, but I just feel like Palpatine was just, they pushed him a lot, from the crawl to Kylo meeting him from the beginning, and everyone in the world talking about Palpatine. When before, the only time he was mentioned was when Luke mentions the Sith being able to like outsmart the Jedi in the last Jedi, in that scene. But then here, Palpatine was just, everyone was talking about Palpatine. The way that Kylo tells Rey, "Oh, you're a Palpatine." It kind of sounded odd to be hearing that on screen, because it just sounds like how us, the viewers, would talk about it. Like, you're a Palpatine, you're a Skywalker, you're a Solo. But anyways, after he throws away his lightsaber, I don't know, like the whole spaceship battle wasn't that great. Whenever Palpatine was on screen, that was great. I love how he even said "do it" at one point, and I love his outfit. I loved the Sith troopers that were kind of Imperial guards. I kind of wish they were Praetorian guards, because it would have made sense. Because if the Praetorian guards were essentially his royal guard, it's just that he was using them for Snoke, I would have expected them to be there for Palpatine himself. But instead, he had this Sith troopers with capes and with darker armor underneath, similar to the original the royal guards that he had. Rey essentially kills them, but she doesn't really get to fight them too much. I think she deflects a lot of the bullets and maybe uses her force powers. Same with the Knights of Ren. Kylo just force powers some of them and kills the other ones. Like, it's so quick that I can't really remember how he killed everyone. I know that some of them he stabbed, another one he pushed, and then maybe deflected the other ones. Speaking of the Knights of Ren, why did they corner him? Why did the Knights of Ren betray Kylo? Like, I don't. When I saw that scene, I was happy to see them there, because I thought that they weren't going to show up again. I was happy to see them there, but I would have hoped, or would have preferred, if they had met up with him there, and you think that they're going to like corner him, but then they follow him because he was their leader. Like, I wanted that leadership aspect to still be present. I didn't want them to, oh, we're evil characters, so whoever is the number one bad guy is our commander. I wanted them to see Kylo, kind of like threaten him, make him wonder if he's in trouble, and then I wanted them to walk with him into the throne room and maybe get killed off by Palpatine. Like, if the Knights of Ren were going to get killed like super easily, I wish Palpatine had done. Like, I wish Palpatine would have electrocuted all of them, and then while Ben and Rey kind of like exchanged lightsabers, or she gave him the lightsaber. That way they were kind of like there to protect him. Maybe against the lightning, maybe against the royal guards. Like, the fact that they show up and they kind of like forget that he is known as the master of the Knights of Ren, and they're just gonna like beat him up. I wish it wasn't like that. I'm glad that they didn't just die in the transport, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I predicted. I expected the Knights of Ren to just fall out of, like, all the cool Star Wars characters just died instantly. So I expected them to show up and then the ground to collapse and all of them to die. Or I expected Rey to just throw her lightsaber and kill them all in a single file line. But the fact that Kylo Ren played around a little bit with them, like he did with the Praetorian Guards, I appreciate that. I still wish they had sided with him and died defending him in the throne room with Rey, but you know, I can't win all of them. Anyways, other than that, there were two really emotional scenes in this movie. Well, actually, I want to say three. When Chewbacca is presented to be dead, I was like, holy shit, she just killed Chewbacca with a Force lightning. That was pretty cool seeing her shoot some Force lightning. The moment where Chewbacca is assumed to be dead, that was touching. I had to go to the restroom because I had drank a lot of soda, and I figured that I needed to go. And as I was leaving, I saw that the scene where Pride, I think his name was Pride, and Hawks are talking about what happened. And I thought I heard that they lost the Knights of Ren. So I was like, holy crap, we lost the Knights of Ren. But then we see that Chewbacca's alive, and then when I come back, they're in the snow area, and I see the Knights of Ren there, and I'm like, thank God they're alive. I was so happy to see it. And then we have the fights between Rey and Kylo. The one that they're doing the Force Skype while still fighting, I thought that was really cool, and I really like the fact that Kylo never wanted to fight her. He never. It was all her. All the engagement was because Rey wanted to attack him. All he did was defend himself. At times he wasn't even striking at her, or he didn't even have his lightsaber on. And so that's in the one where it's the throne. It's in his chamber plus the part of the town that's the Force Skype. That was really cool how the backgrounds would change depending on their perspective. But then when they're in the Death Star and fighting on top of the Death Star, it looked like Kylo had the upper hand. Like, it looked like she couldn't break through. Or maybe it was that she wanted to like push him off. She was angry and she wanted to beat him, but he wasn't letting her. And she was getting tired of trying, and that's when he kind of raises his blade and he hears Leia. He loses his guard, he drops the lightsaber, and Rey just goes for it and kills him. And I say kill, but we know he doesn't die there. I like that scene. I like the second emotional scene would have been the Han Solo scene. When I heard him say, "Hey kid," I knew who was behind him, but I wasn't sure if he was gonna be there himself. And when I saw Harrison Ford, I was like, "Oh shit, this one's gonna hit me in the feelings," and it did. Like, I teared up seeing that. That was such a powerful scene to see it come full circle. I really enjoyed that, and unfortunately, that's also the part where Ben Solo decides to throw away his lightsaber. Never to be mentioned again. Goodbye, lightsaber. Rest in peace, Kylo Ren. Then the third emotional scene was when the Falcon returns to base with Finn, Poe, and Chewie, and they tell them that Leia has passed away. Chewbacca's reaction was so good that I was like, oh my god, I feel for Chewbacca. Because what I was thinking when I saw Chewbacca screaming and in pain was, holy crap, he lost Luke, he lost Han, and now he lost Leia. Everyone who was part of the whole journey, he's lost them. So to me, that was a very emotional scene. And I think that the last emotional scene for me is of course, Ben Solo's death. When he, not necessarily when he actually passes away, but when he gets back from the hole and he sees Rey dead. Like when he, he's someone who is the bad guy in the movie, but he only had one person who he actually cared about, and that was Rey. Like he wouldn't lie to her. He didn't even want to fight her. That's what I saw whenever he fought with her in this movie. Nothing like in The Force Awakens, where they wanted to like tear each other limb from limb. Even though he wanted to teach her, like I can't forget about that. But he was way more aggressive there. So he's walking towards her and he grabs her and he hugs her. And I can't remember if he was tearing up, holding her, but then he remembers to try doing the healing thing, and he uses all of his energy there to revive her. And then she kisses him, and he smiles for the very first time in Star Wars, which I thought that was really cool. However, speaking of Ben Solo's death, like the one thing that really left me kind of like feeling empty about this whole movie. I mentioned in the beginning of this video that the first half of the movie I loved, and that to me, from the point that Ben Solo throws away the lightsaber, the movie kind of takes a nosedive. I think it's mostly because of the way the whole Palpatine thing was handled, but also because in the end of the movie, when Rey returns and they're all celebrating and she goes to Tatooine, there's no mention of Ben Solo. There's absolutely no mention of Ben Solo. Like Ben Solo died in that planet and no one mentioned his name. Like this is our boy. This is Kylo Ren. This is the main villain. This is the guy who's selling all your toys. This is the guy with the mask. The guy that everyone is using for the marketing campaigns for this movie. How can you not mention him at the end? Like I when I saw the credits roll, I was like, no. I was still waiting for her to think about Ben or to see him one last time as a Force Ghost. But no, the last thing we see of him, it was when he smiled. But like, no, I kind of wish we had a moment of her thinking of him. One last moment where we think and see Ben Solo. But we didn't get that. So that's why when I left the theater, I felt kind of empty. Like I felt like I was missing that. When Vader dies at the end of Return of the Jedi, he comes back as a Force Ghost with Obi-Wan and Yoda, and it's very satisfying to see he was redeemed. Here, he was redeemed, but I feel that he was forgotten. Like he's one of the leads of the movie, and I feel like they didn't do him justice. Someone could say he went out smiling, sure, but he should have been mentioned at least, or remembered in the last few scenes. And then, so let's talk about Palpatine. Let's talk about the whole deal with Palpatine. Like from the moment where Rey enters the temple, and there's a fight above. So in the fight above, the Sith troopers show up. They don't really get introduced. You just see the officers up there, and Sith troopers are already everywhere. And then they join the fight. The only time where we get a cool shot of them is not even the actual Sith trooper, it's the Sith jet trooper that gets the spotlight. Of course, the Sith troopers were shooting, getting killed, but we don't get to see. We don't get to see any cool moment with the Sith troopers. We don't get to see like in Force Awakens when FNTR 8R or whatever, um, the traitor guy whips out the baton and just kicks Finn's ass. We don't get to see that there. We don't get to see any stormtrooper like be a badass, except the jet troopers in the beginning of the movie. The one that blows up a couple of the things that Rey and Poe were riding on. That guy was a hero. But the Sith troopers, they didn't really do anything. The Knights of Ren, I can't remember if they had any. Did we see them fight? I can't remember. Besides with Ben, I don't remember them seeing them fight. But anyways, the Sith troopers were a little bit underwhelming, and that's all happening on top of a Star Destroyer. At the temple, we have Palpatine, who is hooked up to this machine. I don't mind the fact that Palpatine is like begging Rey to kill him. Like I didn't mind that, because he wants to transfer his soul. That's how he cheats death. I didn't mind that. I did mind how he just overpowered both Ben and Rey. He sucked the energy from them, and then he picks up Ben and says, "I'm gonna throw you down a hole just like the last Skywalker did with me," and he throws Ben away. And this is the part where it kind of bothered me that Ben wasn't there. Ben wasn't there to, like, what happened? Why wasn't Ben a part of defeating Palpatine? Instead, Rey just wakes up and counters. So we see Palpatine electrocute the sky, which in turn electrocutes and depowers all the ships from the Resistance. We see this massive power from Palpatine. Then Rey wakes up after hearing all sorts of Jedi's in her head, and with one lightsaber she deflects the power of this massive power from Emperor Palpatine. And then she gets the other lightsaber, Leia's lightsaber, or I can't remember which one she had in her hand first. She gets the other one, and that's enough to like murder Emperor Palpatine, just like it had happened to him back in Return of the Sith. Like, he knows that if he shoots lightning and there's a lightsaber, it will go back to him. Like, that's how he got his figure to begin with. But he goes for it, and that's how Rey kills him. And I wish that instead of Rey holding that second lightsaber, I wish Ben Solo was there holding that lightsaber, deflecting it with Rey, and together they kill Palpatine. But I guess that if it was done that way, then Rey wouldn't have died, and Ben couldn't have sacrificed himself for her. I will say that I did like how with Palpatine absorbed the energy from them, he became he got some of his youth, and I say youth in parentheses because he isn't really like young, but he looked like the Emperor we're used to. And I like the outfit he had. He had a black robe, but with red, like a red inner tunic. He looked really good. I know you guys are watching me talk as I'm playing some Battlefront, but that would be an awesome skin for Palpatine for this game. Anyways, so yeah, I wish Ben was involved there. I wish the Knights of Ren had been with Ben. I get that maybe the Knights of Ren were, from the beginning, they were always like under the command of Snoke, or which in this case would have been Snoke is the same as Palpatine. I can buy that. I can buy that the fact that they turn on Kylo, or I should say on Ben, is because they always followed whoever the big Sith was, whether it was Snoke or Palpatine. I get that, but I still wish they had followed him, and I wish they had died protecting him. Speaking of Snoke, seeing the clones of Snoke was kind of cool, but at the same time was kind of weird. It was weird because in The Last Jedi, Snoke grabs Rey, he reads her mind, and wants to kill her, wants Ben to kill her. But then in this movie, it's revealed that she is the granddaughter of Palpatine, and then Palpatine wants her to be the Empress. So what was the point of killing her? Like I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure what was the big deal. Like even Palpatine said that he wanted Ben to kill her during the movie as well. But so why did Palpatine want her to kill him? They mentioned it was because of what she was going to become, but then why does he say that he wants her to be Empress? Maybe it was because she showed up and he needed to lie his way and try to manipulate her into having her kill him. That way he could take her body. I don't know. I just know that the whole Snoke being Palpatine felt kind of like I don't know, like it was something that we all fans were speculating, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm fine with it, but at the same time, I wish they had given us a little bit more about that. And speaking of giving us more about that, the fact that we hear Vader's voice once, and it's the same thing we saw in the trailer. Every single voice you've heard inside of your head I think Palpatine says, I have been every single voice you have heard, and then Vader says, inside your head. That's the only time we get Vader. Then we get him in the mask, but that's it. I thought that when Kylo Ren hears that voice, he was going to like freak out, but we didn't get anything. He didn't seem upset. He just wanted to kill Palpatine. And then, which I'm not sure why he didn't kill him at that point. Like, did Palpatine really have anything on Ben at that moment? Technically, Palpatine had plenty of power because we see him overpower both Ben and Rey at that when he was in that weakened state. But I don't know. Like I wish Ben had reacted, or Kylo would have reacted a little bit more to the helmet and to the voice. The helmet, we see it when Kylo's holding it, but we don't get that reaction when they destroy the helmet. We don't get him get worried about his grandfather helmet getting damaged or anything. But maybe I'm just being too picky. Other than that, I enjoyed the movie. I think the movie did more for us, for the fans, than The Last Jedi. But it also made me appreciate The Last Jedi a little bit more. It made me appreciate the bold storytelling that Rian Johnson did in that movie. Because even though The Last Jedi, when I left the theaters, I felt confused and slightly disappointed, at least I can appreciate it more in hindsight. This one, I left the theater feeling content, but a little bit unsatisfied with the end, especially for what I said about how Ben Solo was never mentioned in the conclusion of it. Had they mentioned him in the conclusion, I think I would have been fully satisfied. The other things, what would have been again the Knights of Ren, which they had protected Ben and Rey instead of just attacking Ben after following him for who knows how long. And Finn, Poe, Chewie, and the rest of the crew, they were there, and that's all I can say. C-3PO was hilarious in this movie. Like, I found him to be very well written, and he had all the jokes, even though they weren't directly a joke. It was just C-3PO being himself at his best. I really enjoyed seeing him. Chewbacca had his good moments. I thought he was gonna die, but thankfully he survives. And out of all the little journeys that we had with those characters, I think my favorite was when they were all in the Star Destroyers killing stormtroopers. I think that was my favorite bit of those characters working together. The whole spaceship fight, it to me just didn't feel epic at all. I just didn't care. I didn't care for them up there, because the only people we were seeing on the camera was Poe, and we knew Poe wasn't gonna die, and the one guy that does die, and maybe one more. That was the whole crew. And then Lando, of course, but you know, Lando and Chewie are not gonna die at that point. But anyways, let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Did you like it? Were you satisfied? What did you think of Ben? I think Ben was the best part of the movie. And again, thank you for listening to me rant a little bit here. If I had to rank this movie, I would say it was better than The Last Jedi, but at the same time, I can't say it was better by that much. I still think that The Force Awakens was the best movie out of this trilogy. It was the most fun, the most complete. Sure, it borrowed a lot from A New Hope, but it still was decent enough to be fun and complete, while adding some original elements to it. This one, it's not bad, but it's not the best Star Wars movie. Anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Maybe after I watch this movie a little bit more, maybe I'll make another video talking about it, but for now, those are my thoughts. Bye bye.